I remember talking to a very famous actor, Jack Lemmon's son, in fact, who told me that on the day that Marilyn Monroe turned 36, she was running around the commissary at 20th Century Fox saying, "It's all over, I'm 36, nobody will want to know." This was, of course, in 1962. But when you fast forwarded a few years, particularly in the land of Hollywood, and particularly when you're trying to appeal to a very much younger audience, well, Meghan Markle, soon to reach 44 in a matter of days, well, apparently is going through also something of a, well, shall we say, catastrophic downside. As ever, let me explain. Morning, good to see you, chums. Thank you so much as ever for your time today. Lovely to have your company. As we know, lots of staff have now recently quit the Meghan and Harry empire, simply because the empire has crumbled. I mean, that's the deal, isn't it? You went in there to become a billionairess, and it doesn't matter what you do, you have to sell a lot of jams, a lot of bottle of wines to make sure that you can afford the lifestyle that you so wanted. We haven't had a wave. Nice to see you. Welcome on and all brand new subscribers. And the problem that you have when you do something like that very publicly, of course, is to announce that you are going to do this and this is terrific and all that sort of stuff, are other problems. Now, here's the real issue that's now concerning Meghan, as you can imagine. Not only, like any woman, they do not want to be reminded of another year older. And of course, Meghan's look, or Luke, as she likes to be told, has changed quite considerably over the last few years. Make of that what you will. But what's interesting for her now is, of course, that this particular year, the year that she started out writing 2025 in the sand, and it was all going to be marvellous and wonderful and all that sort of stuff. Well, at this pivotal point, from her mood board and the insiders that she had, she would be hoping to be celebrating just phenomenal success of the brand, of all of the things that supposedly are around her. Now, what's interesting is there are certain individuals out there who are claiming that His Majesty the King, alongside Queen Camilla, are planning to commemorate publicly the birthday of Meghan Markle, possibly on social media. Now, I would say, let me just put this out there now, that will not be happening. But of course, somebody likes to strike a match and make sure that something gets going. There's a bit of a light behind whatever story they're coming up with. What I can tell you is simply this, that apparently, according to her new team, they're in divides. You see, they believe that Meghan should be seen on social media, happy, glass of champagne, surrounded by friends, and of course, huge big cake, possibly that she's made herself, basically saying to the world, this is all white noise. I'm carrying on with my life and this is going incredibly well. Now, this, of course, is the team behind that trying to get the secret meeting together and all of those things to try and push forward. You know, the sort of people that, well, you know these stories that pop up, say, about His Majesty the King being difficult with gardeners or Prince William being work shy. You know those sort of stories? Well, you see, basically, they're now trying to drive a different narrative. Now, what's interesting here, and this is the bigger problem that you've got, is that everybody knows the dilemma that both Harry and Meghan are truly now in. And no masquerading this with going out for dinner with friends or spotted by paparazzi going into their favourite steak restaurant, something like that is simply not going to work. The people that they've taken on, these brand new teams, have the unenviable task because it's very difficult when somebody's popularity has plummeted that low. And I don't mean that in a unkindness or with relish or anything like that. It's just a fact. I've been in that situation myself, working with artists. Once you're unpopular, it takes a long time. And no amount of restructuring and doing fake pictures of your birthday and gifts and parties and stuff like that, well, that won't work. Now, apparently, Meghan is in split divide. One minute she thinks the idea is a positive idea, but Harry believes, and this is from an excellent source behind the scenes, that in fact, well, they should just remain low key. Any sort of celebration will upset people simply because it doesn't look like they're taking their responsibilities, seriously. Now, we know Harry had to disappear to make sure he could even survive a little bit longer by disappearing off comms for a few days. But for Meghan, as I said, this particular birthday was supposedly going to be this big celebration, a pivotal point in the year where everything was on track, the brand, the wine, the Instagram, the podcast, you name it, everything was going in the right direction. And sadly, as she reaches 44, and this is why I mentioned Marilyn Monroe at the start, it's a difficult time. A former actress, 44 years old, what options now do you have? So rather than a celebration, why don't they look around and think, what can we now do to cement, say, the next 5 years, hitting 50 or so? But as ever with Meghan, she's looking to a highly paid team to make sure that the world believes, even no matter how dark it might seem, that everything's going forward and hunky-dory. Which direction do you think that she will finally choose? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.